Sup, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and I'm here to take you through a couple of some picks that I'm leaning towards for this upcoming four-game slate. It is the knockout stage, it's the quarterfinals of the men's basketball in the Olympics. We've got Germany versus Greece, Serbia versus Australia, France versus Canada, and Brazil versus the USA. To kick things off, I want to celebrate for everybody who's been tailing my tips, because last night on the women's basketball in the Olympics, we killed it, boys. Almost 2 units profit on the women's Olympics last night for all the VIP members. 42.25% return on your investment. We had Masaman Curry over 23.5 points. We then went ahead and got saucy with it, cashing in 30 plus points for her. The night only got better. Kalu, she covered 14.5 points. Then we had to get a little bit sexy with it, extended her line, and she cashed 20 plus points as well. If you want to tell all of the bets that I place, then my VIP is the place to go. It's where I share all of my bets that I place across a wide range of sports. Right now is the best time to jump on board. I'm running a promo, and that's only for the people who watch my YouTube videos, where I'm giving 75% off my VIP. My Instagram followers and the 2,000 plus members I have in my Discord, they haven't even been notified about this discount. Keep in mind, the cost of VIP is $1,500 annually. And a lot of you guys have been quick to lock in before the NBA season even starts. So you're getting in at a really low price. Now, even with the discount, the yearly price still may not fit your budget. So I've organized for you guys to be able to jump in at a monthly rate as well. So check out the VIP. The link for that is in the video description below. I'll put it in the pinned comment as well with the discount code so you guys can jump in. So tapping in, it's Greece versus Germany. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Greece, they do play at a pretty slow tempo. They can't trade baskets with Germany. So Germany, they look like well-oiled machines right now. Their team is deep and they have a great level of cohesion. So really flexing that FIBA World Championship muscle right now, the Germans. But with Giannis on the other side, probably keeps this game close. And if they keep it close, it's really good for our player props. So let's talk about the few that I've managed to land on. So the first one that I wanted to take you guys through. Now, keeping in mind, everything I share with you is a lean at the moment. I've done all the research. I just need to decide which ones I'm going to bet on and what that bet's going to look like. And that's why the VIP is so important. But the first lean that I have that you should take into consideration here is for Dennis Schroeder. Now, I'm looking at Dennis Schroeder over 19.5 points. It's a plus money play, plus 125, so massive value for Dennis Schroeder to score some points in this one. Now, he's covered this line in 2 games now, 2 consecutive games. He had 20 against Brazil, and he just had 26 against France. Now, Greece, they do have some size down low to limit the Germans' bigs, but they have no guards capable of slowing down Dennis Schroeder. His usage rate is going to be sky high. The volume of shots will be there too. I feel like the only way that this bet loses is if he has an off shooting night. He has been shooting quite well in his last 2 games, hitting a lot of 3-pointers. And that's why the pivot for Dennis Schroeder is over 2.5 3-pointers made. Now, for Dennis Schroeder to hit that, you're looking at minus 115 odds. So not the plus money that his points do, but the 3-pointers, he has been cashing in quite well. He's made 4 plus 3-pointers in his last 2 games. In his first game in the Olympics, he actually went under. He shot 1 from 6, and that was against Japan. But despite going under, the volume is still there. So if he's going to take 5 to 6, maybe 10 3-pointers, and you only need 3 of those to cash, I think Dennis Schroeder to cash some 3-pointers is a good look. The other play that I have prepared is for this guy, Daniel Theis. Now, you can get it. I'm looking at under 8.5 here at Bet365. It's a plus money play, but you can also get this under 9.5 points on other books. Now, why the Daniel Theis unders? Well, in this Olympics, he scored 18 points, 6 points, and then 7 points, all that in the group stage. Now, the 18 points were scored against Japan, who were absolutely abused inside. Theis shot 5 from 5 on 2s with a couple of lobs, but he also made 2 from 2 3-pointers, which is completely not his thing. Now, the one constant thing here with Daniel Theis is that his shot volume is consistent. He's had 7 shot attempts in all 3 games. He's only had 2 free throw attempts across the 3 games, so he's not getting to the line very much at all. So you can really center your bet around 7 shot attempts for Daniel Theis. With that type of volume, he would need to shoot more than 50% from the field in this game. The other thing I like is that he most likely picks up the Giannis matchup. And that means potential foul trouble for him with Giannis's aggression attacking the rack. One other thing to keep in mind is that the Greek coach, he actually just complained to the media after their last game about how Greece, especially Giannis, getting enough calls. So if the referees are influenced by this, Giannis could be getting a whole lot of calls, and a lot of those calls probably going to be on Daniel Tice. So if he finds himself in foul trouble, I do like his under as well. So you can get 9.5 points on other books. Bet365 has it at 8.5. It's a plus money play. So they were the first people to move their line down. But I wouldn't be surprised if this stays at 8.5, but it comes down to minus 110 or something like that. So Daniel Tice to go under. Not going to be a popular pick out there, but I think it's a good one. Staying in the same game, looking at some of these Greek players, one that I'm sitting right now is this guy, Vasilios Toliopoulos, looking at over 9.5 points. Now, he's the second highest scorer for this Greek team so far in the Olympics. He's averaging 12 points per game in 19 minutes off the bench. In the group stage, he scored 9, 14, and 13 points. And in those 3 games, he only had 1 game where he shot the ball well. I feel like Germany will do everything they can to lock down Giannis, slow him down, and get other players from this Greek team to beat them. So this guy's got a lot of potential, given his volume. The volume's terrific. He's a pretty good shooter. And if the shot's not falling, the volume should be enough to get us over that 9.5 points. So I definitely like that one. That's one player that I'm looking at for sure. Other players that the first players you're probably going to look at outside of Dennis Schroeder are going to be Franz Wagner and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Looking at their lines, Franz is at 22.5, Giannis is at 28.5. Now, these lines are quite high. It takes one bad quarter or a bit of foul trouble, and your bets are dead. Like Giannis could get called for a couple of charges in this game and is in trouble. Whereas with Franz Wagner, if Dennis Schroeder completely takes over and Franz has a really slow quarter at some point in the game, that could limit his opportunities. 22.5 is the highest we've seen Franz's line in the Olympics, and it just happens to be a knockout game. Yes, he might play more minutes, but there's more on the line for this game, so you can expect both teams to be scratching and clawing for this one. So I do think they're more than capable of going over. I just feel like they're too high in my opinion, so I won't be betting them, but feel free to do so yourself. Jumping into the next game, we're looking at Australia versus Serbia. Now, Serbia, they've got the obvious size advantage and the experience in the backcourt. Australia, they have been pretty poor over their last 2 games. Take it from me. I am from Australia, and I've watched every single game that they've played, and they've been pretty bad over the last 2. Now, Jock Landale, he's the only player for Australia who's outperforming his line consistently, and I know a lot of people are going to be betting on him for this game. I do have an opinion on how I think things go, so stick around. But the first player that I wanted to look through here was Vasily Micic. You didn't know, he was a great player to bet on throughout the NBA season, playing for the Charlotte Hornets. But what I'm looking at for him today is over 5.5 assists. It's a plus money play, plus 100. Now, he's covered this line in his last 2 games that Serbia won. He racked up 7 assists in both of those games. He also racked up 8 assists in the preparation game against Australia. And in that game, Serbia didn't play very well at all. So there could be opportunities for him to get more. Australia have also allowed high assist numbers to key players in this group stage. Nick Kalathis from Greece had 8 assists. Lorenzo Brown from Spain had 7 assists. And Jamal Murray for Canada had 5 assists off the bench. So Micic to get 5.5, definitely a look that I'm taking. Jokic at 7.5, and that seems scarily high, and he might fuck around and get a triple-double. Keeping in mind, Australia is allowing about 20 assists per game, so even if Nikola Jokic manages to have a good game with these assists, I don't think that stops Micic from getting his. In this game, if you pass the ball, somebody gets fouled, and they make the bucket, that's an assist for you. So Micic to get 5.5 assists at plus money could be something that I'm willing to fuck around with. Now, the next play, we're talking about Jock Landale. Now, Jock Landale's been absolutely killing it. His points line in this game is only 13.5. Despite how strong he performs, his line doesn't move too much. It stayed at 13.5. That seems to be the ceiling the books are willing to offer. Minus 105 to the over. Now, I'm looking at his under, to be honest. I'm looking at under 13.5 points for Jock Landale, and it's probably going to be an unpopular opinion given how well he's been playing. Through 3 games, he scored 20, 16, and 17 points. I think it's going to be a popular pick amongst YouTube cappers out there to take his over, but I'm saying fuck that. I'm going rogue, and I'm going to take my fellow countrymen to go under. I'm pretty certain I will anyway. Now, Serbia, they have 3 7-footers that Jock will be up against in this game. Serbia, they haven't allowed any centers to have a strong game against them so far. Against the US, Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, and Anthony Davis, they all went well under their points line. Against Puerto Rico, their starting center was held to 2 points. And up against South Sudan, all of their interior players scored less than 10 points in that game. They only shot a whole lot of threes to keep them in it, and that's not Jock's play style. So I'm looking at fade in the public here because I know they're going to like the over. I'm thinking of taking his under. Tough matchup against Serbia, these big boys inside. And Jock Landale's not one of those bigs. If anything, his athleticism's somewhat Jokic-like. Big, Gumby-ass, white dude that uses his side to get some layups inside. I don't know. I feel like he's not going to do so well tonight. So I'm looking at his under. He has been rebounding quite well. That could be a look, but I might take the under on that too. So fuck you, Jock Landale. I hope you're not watching. I am a big fan. But I'm taking the under tonight. Outside of that, key players, you got Josh Giddey. No one knows what the hell he's doing these days. He was pretty poor in that last game. But funny thing is, his line in the last game was 14.5 points. And I mentioned in the last video that Sportsbook have lowered his line despite scoring 19 points, which means that he's probably going to go under. And he did. I think he only scored 11 points in the last game. Now, despite that, he scored 11 points in the last game, and his line moved up from 14.5 to 16.5. Now, when the sportsbooks do that, they tend to be on their shit. So leading to the over there for Josh Giddey, probably not a bet that I'm going to take because it's not a strong enough reason, but that's what I'd be thinking. Another one is Patty Mills. I wanted to take his under 16.5 because he's been dog shit, but he did light up the Serbians in the preparation game, 20-something points from Patty Mills in that game, and he could do it again. And then the others like Jokic. Like, he's a beast, but his lines are just too high. 20.5 points, like 10.5 boards, 7.5 assists. It's just too high for me. And Bogdan Bogdanovic, his line's only at 17.5, but he just scored 30 points in his last game. There's going to be some kind of drop-off, and I don't know how far he's going to fall. So those are my reasons for not picking any of those guys. Not to say that you shouldn't, but I'm not desperately looking for plays out here. Let's jump into game 3. It's Canada versus France. Now, France, they have been dog shit. Their offense sucks. Their defense needs to shine if they're a chance at winning this game. Canada pretty much been cruising up until this point. Their offensive structure, very similar to Germany's, who just crushed France in the group stage. So I think Canada, they walk away with a win here. France, they're struggling. Even Evan Fournier, apparently there's some infighting amongst the team and people aren't happy with the coach. They're all over the place and they're hosting the bloody Olympics. They can't get it together. But let's talk about some player props. What am I thinking? The first one that I'm looking at here is Victor Wembanyama. Over 10.5 rebounds, plus 100 at the moment. And you know how I feel about plus money. It gets me a little bit aroused. Now, France, they do have a significant size advantage in the front court. Victor's going to be up against Kelly Olynyk or Dwight Powell. Wemby's covered this rebound line in 2 out of 3 games in the group stage. Given it's an elimination game, I'm telling you, Wemby's going to play at least 30 minutes. He doesn't get into foul trouble because people don't want to drive on his big ass. Now, Canada, they also play at a reasonably fast pace, which will bring up more rebound opportunities as well. I think Wemby can fill up the stat sheet. I don't know if he can score enough. I do like his rebounds. I do like his assists, but what's going to make the most sense is probably the rebound play, given his size advantage. So I am looking at that. The other 3 players I looked at all happen to be from Canada. Now, we're talking about this 3-headed dragon that they've been running with at the moment. It's RJ Barrett, Dylan Brooks, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 22.5 points for SGA, 12.5 for Dylan Brooks, 16.5 for RJ Barrett. So if you want consistent output, look at these 3. So they're averaging a combined 55 points per game so far in this Olympics. They all score in different ways, but the reality is they all get buckets on a really consistent basis. You could run a plus money parlay, for example, for this. If you wanted to run RJ Barrett for 15 points and then Dylan Brooks for 10 points, you get plus 110. Plus 110 for those 2. This has 3 games so far in the Olympics. They both have high volume. They both take a lot of minutes. So that could be a look. But another angle that you could take, if you don't want to do any bitch-ass parlays, you could look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over his points line. Now, from the time where I did my research, wrote a couple of notes, his line was at 21.5. It's now up to 22.5. So it's moving in the wrong direction, but I'm sure you can still get it in 21. You can get it at 21.5 in other places. Now, my angle for this, him going over 21.5 points, is one, he's gone under this in all 3 games so far in the group stage. Now we're into the knockout stage. I think starters are going to play more minutes and the stars increase their usage rate. Germany, when they versed France, we saw Franz Wagner and Dennis destroy the French defense. And I can see SGA doing something similar. So a big reason why I would take this, because one, he hasn't done it before. And this game is hella important. It's win or go home. And I think Canada are going to win this, and I think SGA can put them on their back. But the other alternative to that, you could just run the Dylan Brooks and RJ Barrett parlay. Or if you're a degenerate like myself, you might play both. But that's just where my mind's going at the moment. For those of you who are on my VIP, you'll see what I eventually land on. All right, so we're jumping into the last game. It's Brazil versus USA. Now, Brazil, they are lucky to be here. Their only win was against Japan, and it was close, and they were missing Rui Hachimura. USA, they've had a pretty easy run in the group stage, and they've got a pretty easy run to the gold medal, to be honest. They're not – they probably have to get through Serbia and then whoever they face in the gold medal game. So pretty easy run for the US. But you know what isn't easy? Betting on their player props. So betting on the US player props has not been easy. They've got a stacked team, and they're playing in games that aren't competitive. I've had success betting on unders when they play, so that might seem like the way to go. So if we're thinking about unders in this game, the one player that I am thinking about actually is this guy, Bruno Caboclo, under 14.5 points from Brazil. Now, he just put out one of the performances of the tournament. He scored 33 points and 17 rebounds against Japan. Prior to that, he was pretty ineffective against Germany and France. He barely got any minutes due to foul trouble, and I think we see more of the same. But if that doesn't happen, and the game, it could be a little bit tighter, the 14.5 points. But saying that, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, they're going to be his primary defenders, and it's going to be a tough night for Bruno. Now, Bruno looked like a beast against Japan. But one thing to keep in mind is that Bruno is only 6'9", going up against some of the best bigs in the world. So I do think they find a way to make it tough on him. That last game, it's not an outlier. Bruno does that against weak competition. I've seen him do that many times before, but now he's up against the US. It doesn't get any harder than that. And I think 14.5 is going to be a bit of a stretch. And I think Brazil, the only way they stay live in this game is they bomb from deep. Now, looking at these Americans, USA, it's tough to get a read on this one because it is a knockout stage. But given how easy this game will be for them to win, I think the reserves will probably still get a decent run. The last game for the US, we played Steph Curry unders, and that cashed. And then the game before that, we went LeBron under in assists, and that cashed. I don't want to bet them again. Right now, as I look through the numbers, I would probably say the best player that I could come up with isn't even a straight bet for the US. We're looking at the King here, taking him for a same-game parlay of 10 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. Minus 120 odds, but the 10, 5, and 5 is something that LeBron has hit in every single game in the Olympics. He's an absolute wagon. This USA team, their whole style revolves around LeBron. Another thing to keep in mind is nothing gets in the way of LeBron and his numbers. So keep that in mind. Well, that's what I think anyway. But I think that's the best play I could come up with if I had to bet on someone from the US. I probably won't because it's difficult to know how the rotations are going to go, who's going to get minutes. They're obviously going to win by a lot, but who's going to do all the damage and who's going to suck? That is hard to predict for this particular game. So I'll probably choose not to. If you want to get a play on, LeBron for 10-5, I think is a pretty good look. But that's just some of the many insights that I found so far in this game. I did have a few hours to do a deep dive into everything, who they've played so far, what the matchups look like, what are their minutes, attempts, everything. What does this game mean to them? I've done all the research, and those are some of the insights and picks that I could come up with. I haven't made my final decision just yet. I'm now going to chop this up. I'm going to edit it, look to post it, and by the time it's posted, all of my bets are going to be down. So everyone in the VIP, you'll get notified when my bets come out. So check it out. It's the winnable link in the video description below. I'll also pin it. Plus, I'll even leave the discount code for you. 75% off my VIP. Get it while it's hot. It's actually closing soon because it's filling up quicker than I expected. So be sure to check it out. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.